Welcome everyone to Disruptive Conversations, in which we talk about the experiences of women who've needed to navigate and conquer their different types of challenges that have come their way. These are women who have been in the areas of entrepreneurs, influencers, educators, and how they have come into themselves and have been able to make positive change in their lives. I'm Dr. Risa Reiger, clinical psychologist, and I'm an expert in change. And here's the deal. Positive change can happen at any point, but in order to create positive change, you need to disrupt. You need to disrupt a thought, a feeling, a belief, a habit, an action in order to create your 10.0 life. And that's what these series of conversations is all about. And today, it's going to be you and me together. And we're going to be talking about fear. And why am I talking about fear? Because fear can be your ally or fear can be your saboteur. And you have the agency in order to be able to make those kinds of decisions and figure out how fear can serve you. So one of the things that I've realized after my years of work is that people tend to go in two directions with fear. And let's start with fear. And what is fear? Fear it's that sensation in your body. Fear lives in the body, and your body knows before your brain. You're going to experience something in your body that lets you know that it's a no-go, that you need to step back rather than to step forward. And so once we have that kind of sensation and then we can identify it, it gives us the agency to be able to make decisions about it. So here's a lot of what happens with fear with people. In that there are lots of people who, when they experience fear, they say red light, step back, no go, and they stop. And maybe they stop in too many ways and too often. Then there's the other side of that coin, and other people who feel fear and they go, fear, that's not going to stop me. And here's where the difficulty comes in, which is fear can also be our ally. And we need to make a distinction between physical safety and emotional safety. And when you're able to make that discernment, it helps you know how to go forward and how you want to leverage or not leverage your fearfulness. So, for example, let's say that you're feeling afraid and something happens and you smell smoke. You can go downstairs. This is one thing. You can say, oh my gosh, the house is on fire. And you go downstairs and you realize, no, the house isn't really on fire. The potatoes got burned and that's what I'm smelling. When you go towards the other side and you think, well, I'm smelling smoke, but it's probably just the potatoes, but really the house is on fire, you need to be able to establish that that's what's happening and follow through with that with your sense of safety. And so the specific kind of experience you're having, what's alerting you in your body, is something that you do need to pay attention to. And the checks and balances that we have between what we experience in our body and what we're thinking in our heads, we can use those checks and balances for the times when, for example, if you're more of a red light, no matter what, as soon as I feel fear, that means everything needs to stop. If you're that red light person with fear, then you can use your very good mind to help yourself sort through and say, well, gee, is this a situation that I really need to be afraid? What am I afraid of? What are my risks here? And what are my benefits? And if you start from red light and then you shift to yellow light or flashing yellow light, that gives you an opportunity to really determine what it is that you need to do and what could be helpful to you. On the other side, if when you get the fearfulness and you completely disregard it, right, and you're just using your head to overshadow what your body is experiencing, which is, I'm pushing through fear no matter what, that at that point, you need to bring your body into the picture as well and find out, well, what is it that my body is trying to tell me that, in fact, I really do need to listen to it, because we have survival mechanisms within us, and we get to decide which ones we want to pay attention to and how we want to pay attention to that, and which ones we prefer not to pay attention to. And when you're in that space, you can have fear be not your saboteur, either by ignoring it or staying with it all the time. You can have fear be your ally. And fear can be the space where you check in, you find out more. And very, very importantly, when you're listening to your fear and then deciding really where it fits on the continuum of something to red light, something to green light, something to look at the flashing yellows, then you're using your fear as an ally. And then you keep yourself in a space of both trying, taking risks, and also keeping yourself out of spaces of danger that you really could have made decisions about. What happens is when you listen to both sides and you utilize your good mind and the information from your good body and you put them together, you develop more trust in yourself. You develop trust in yourself about how you make decisions, how to go forward, where your strengths can lie, what are the danger points and warning points that you really need to remember so that, I did that again and I really should have said no. Or to the contrary, I didn't do that again and I really should have said yes. So that when you get clarity about your yeses and your nos, you are really able to move forward with your life and experience your own agency. So one of the ways that fear can really interfere with us, I know that sounds a little bit funny, that fear interfering, is that one of the big challenges and one of the mental health issues that is top of list is about the epidemic, not a virus, but the epidemic of loneliness and isolation in the world. And what happens is that people are feeling terribly lonely, and the people often who feel the loneliest, are often the ones who are in the least able position inside of themselves to take the risk, to go out, to give something a try, and to really break through and start being connected. You know, it's often when we're feeling most vulnerable that we really want to pull back the most. And so here, what's counterintuitive is that oftentimes it's the time that we're feeling most vulnerable. In order to be able to break through our vulnerability and to develop more sense of trust in ourselves, sense of confidence, is by shifting from avoidance and taking that step and feeling that discomfort of fear. And there's fear in the service of growth. It's so easy to avoid, and avoidance is powerful. Now, why is avoidance powerful? Avoidance is powerful because one of the ways when you're feeling uncomfortable, a surefire way of feeling more comfortable is to not do it. Step away from it. And then there's a tremendous sense of relief that you can experience. However, what you're doing is you're trading in experience of discomfort or uncomfortableness for growth. And when you do that, you stay very, very stuck. So here's one of the things that you can do. If you have a tendency to hear and that red light inside of yourself of fear, I must stop. And Farnoosh Torabi talks about fear a lot, and a lot of the ways that fearfulness can be helpful to us, and in ways fearfulness can also not be helpful to us. So when you're taking a risk, if you're more of the, I'm feeling fearful, I'm not doing it, and you haven't really ascertained and gone through safety concerns, and you take that little risk, keep track of your wins. Keep track of your wins of when you have taken that risk and here you are, you've done it. Congratulate yourself. Write that down, and that start to change your brain as knowing that you're the person who can do. And if you're the person who keeps going, keeps feeling risk or feeling the fear and just plows through it, and to your detriment also, is put your foot on the brake a little bit to give yourself a chance to understand what is the danger. What am I trying to alert myself to? And is this something I need to listen to? So those are the different ways that fear can either be your ally or your saboteur. Because either way, by continuing to not do or to continuing to do and put yourself in harm's way, are ways of using fear as a saboteur rather than being able to use your fear as an ally. So today, it's been you and me. And as we look for positive change, and we all want and we need positive change, and positive change can also be the place of fearfulness, because with positive change, we go into the unknown. And oftentimes the space of the unknown, even if it's the unknown of really wonderful things, is a hard place to go to. And we can experience in the push and the pull of that. Also to note that you can certainly feel more than one thing at the same time. You can feel fear, and you can also feel excitement about that. So we're going to wrap up for today, and here's some of the takeaways, which is that when you're feeling fear, when you're afraid and your body is letting you know that, before you shut it down or before you step on the gas pedal, ascertain, is this an issue of safety? What are my risks? What are my risks of doing this? What are my risks of not doing this? And how can I support myself through feeling the discomfort of either doing it, or if it's been your habit now, the discomfort of not doing it? Both can be equally important. Make sure that fear is your ally and not a space of sabotage. Please remember that positive change can happen at any point in time. We're built for change. Change can be your friend and ally and bring you into a space that perhaps you couldn't even imagine being in, with the growth that will give to you. And can't wait to see you next time. And remember, till then, I've saved a seat for you.